Good evening. Good evening. Here we go. Good evening and welcome to the this meeting of the Sahuarita Unified School District Governing Board. Sahuarita board members and district administration are meeting at the district auditorium. There will also be accommodation for up to 75 community members to attend the meeting. The meeting will be live streamed by use of YouTube, which allows for members of the public to view and or listen to this meeting virtually. If you need accommodations, please contact Betsy Palacios at bpalacios@sahuarita.net. A link has been provided for any call to the public comments. 20 minutes will be allowed for the reading of online and in-person comments at the meeting. Any comments not read during this agenda, I am totally reading the wrong thing and I am greatly apologize. First meeting, sorry guys.
It's all right. Okay, good job.
Was I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Just letting them know ahead of time. You're good.
Okay. Sorry. Any comments not read during this agenda item will still be entered into the public record. We will adhere to all board meeting procedures to the extent practical. An audio recording and or draft copy of the minutes from this meeting will be available to the public. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions. Again, welcome. It's great to see so many students with us tonight, and we're glad that you're here. First item is the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela. Or no,
Okay.
Wait, I'm so screwed up tonight, guys.
That's okay.
My apologies. I'm very nervous. My apologies.
We'll help you.
Please stand and join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, going into the roll call.
Governing Board President Denise Reese.
Here.
Governing Board Clerk Dr. John Sparks.
Here.
Governing Board Member Sherry Lowell.
Here.
Governing Board Member Kevin Opalka.
Here.
Governing Board Member Nicole Warner, absent. District Administration Superintendent Dr. Manuel Valenzuela.
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs.
Here.
Assistant Superintendent Brett Bonner.
Here.
Chief Financial Officer Lisette Huey.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go into the approval of the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Reese, members of the board, I'd recommend approval of the revised agenda as presented.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Reese, members of the board, you have in your packet draft copies of the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the board back on January 12th, 2022. And after your review and consideration, I do recommend approval at this time.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Ratification of the vouchers. Ms. Huey.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I recommend payroll voucher ratification number 14, new payroll number 17 for total payroll approval of $4,632,051.91. Additionally, I recommend previously approved expense vouchers 1053, 1054, and new expense vouchers 1065 and 1066 for a total of expense vouchers of $4,714,905.78 for a grand total of $9,346,957.69.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the superintendent reports. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, thank you, President Reese, members of the board. I do have some items to share. And we always begin with the enrollment report, where we see some steady and favorable trends. As you can see, bottom right-hand corner, although by a small margin, there is an increase, a net increase of 2 students from the last meeting. If you look at the trend line graph over time, though, probably more importantly is you look at the widening gap over time between the blue and the orange. The orange, of course, is last year with all of the pandemic correlated declines in enrollment. This year you see that the blue trend line is holding steadily and even slightly increasing. You remember last year we lost about 600 students. If you just subtract the 2 right now, it appears that we've captured about 537 of those, at least at this point in time. So I think that was one of the objectives that we had, which was to stabilize and continue to develop enrollments and recapture those lost enrollments. So that's very positive. I'd like to, and there's no graphic on this one, I just want to say thank you to my colleague, Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner's been working with the Curriculum Associates, which is the publisher of iReady, one of our approved curricular programs. The state, starting July, will require us to implement a dyslexia screener for new students coming into the district. And Brett was involved in consulting with Curriculum Associates, and they now have an approved screener with the state, which will mean that it'll hopefully support a seamless transition into that next phase. So thank you, Brett, for your extra time and effort. I'd like to congratulate some students from Copperview Elementary School who participated in the Elks Club hoop shoot competition. That thing's been around a long time. It's a really neat recreation program. And Copperview had 2 students, Nanny Walden, who's a 5th grader, and Charlie Parker, who's a 3rd grader, placed first. And they are going on to the state competition. I think it's in the Apache Junction area next month, and I'm sure they will represent us with excellence. And speaking of excellence, we've had, between Sahuarita High and Walden Grove High, we've had a total of 27 students qualify for the Southern Arizona Regional Honor Band, which is like the All-Star Band for the region. Yeah, that's right. I think that means that our whole band is an all-star band. I think we're going to proudly take up a significant number of the chairs in that competition, and I think it resonates with the fact that the fine arts is an important part of a quality education, and this community is always invested in that. So we say thank you so much for that support. Speaking of excellence, those of you that are regular attendees here know that our NJ ROTC program is recognized within the boundaries of the state and beyond. I'm proud to tell you that last weekend they competed at the Area 11 Regional Orienteering Competition. Very rigorous, very competitive mentally and physically. And Area 11 was 55 ROTC high school units from Arizona and California. And our students went over there and competed, and they came in first place out of the whole entire thing. And if you've ever done orienteering, it's pretty complex stuff, very integrates a lot of content. And Shayla Blair was the top female finisher, and Hiram Thompson was the top male finisher in the JV division. So these young men and women will be competing in March at the National JROTC Orienteering Championships in the San Jose, California area. So they will represent us with excellence. I'm also proud to share that in the world of high school sports, specifically wrestling, our students at Sahuarita High School have achieved something that's never been done before. Can we have the next picture? Do we have the next picture, Amber? For those of you that have been around a while, allow me to be nostalgic, and I'll be just only about a minute. The Flowing Wells High School Wrestling Invitational is one of the most renowned, prestigious, and competitive high school wrestling tournaments in the Western U.S. for sure. I graduated from Flooring Wills High way back in the dark ages, 1984, and it was big then. And some things don't change. We're very proud of our colleagues, our neighbors to the north, the Sunnyside High School Blue Devils. They're nationally renowned. They win the tournament very often. This year, though, Sahuarita High School came in third place behind Sunnyside and Liberty High School, which is a much bigger school in the Phoenix area. So there's like 60 teams. It was at the Tucson Convention Center. They don't even have it at the school because they can't put down enough mats. And a young man named Gabriel Gallardo, who's a freshman at Sahuarita High School. Well, that's the guy there with the Letterman jacket and the big trophy. He was named the outstanding wrestler of the whole tournament. So like 600 wrestlers. And what I heard from John Canoip, the principal at Sahuarita High, who was a former wrestling coach himself, that Gabriel pinned his way through the entire tournament. He pinned every opponent. So good things are happening. It's hard, it's challenging, but to me, when I'm having a rough day or we're dealing with the challenges of these crazy times, I just see what we're achieving with our kids. It's a community effort. Very, very proud. And one more thing that I just got to tell you. To me, there's nothing that brings me more joy, even after our students leave us, than to share in the success of our students. It's also the best validation of the work we do. That young man right there, his name is Rob Lowell, and he graduated from Walden High School 2018. He's graduating from the U of A this May, and he was admitted, as you can see if you can squint, to the Vanderbilt University School of Law. It's like a top 10 or 15 law school. Very, very proud of Rob. Another one of our students in Rob's class, who participated with him in the 9th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals competition that our students did great on. I still remember that. Carly Frieders, who I don't have a picture of yet. Carly, I just learned, was admitted to Harvard Law. So our kids are doing amazing things, and allow me to brag because his humble and yet very proud mama over there won't do it. But let's just give it up for all of our students. They're doing an amazing job. Madam President, more shining examples that Sahuarita continues to shine, and together it will continue to do so. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Dr. Valenzuela. Moving on to governing board reports. Ms. Lowell.
I would just like to say that as proud of a parent as I am, those kids worked awfully hard, and there's nothing that, I've done other than support them, and it's great coming from public education and to see the support of our teachers and our community to the kids. There's lots and lots of more success stories, and it certainly is neat to hear about them. So thank you very much for mentioning them, Dr. Valenzuela. That's it.
Dr. Sparks.
I want to just thank everybody in the district, as a community. At work recently, we're having a conversation. I work in a federally qualified health center, and I see patients all day long in that setting. In the community setting, pretty broad spectrum of patients, both economically, socially diverse. And we were having a conversation in our office that almost weekly we have changing stuff going on. Protocols change. It's just a constant evolution right now. And I'm grateful for the efforts. It hasn't been an easy year. I think many people thought that it was going to be this blissful return to normality and it was going to be easy. But in some ways, this has been a tough year. And for students, for teachers, for parents, for administrators, for the community as a whole. And I know it's not always easy, and I'm just grateful to live in a community that makes efforts to come together and to make choices and decisions. And I know those aren't always easy, and I'm just grateful to live where I live and be involved with the people that I'm involved with. Whether we agree or we don't agree, whether we see the same things or not, I'm just grateful to live in a community that I live in. And I regularly tell people all the time, I have children in 3 schools in the district, and I say I wouldn't raise my children anywhere else. I love living here. So I just thank everybody, and I'm grateful you're all here tonight to celebrate your children and the successes and the demonstrated leadership they show in their own schools. I'm just grateful tonight for that. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Opaka?
Yeah, again, just, it's wonderful to see a crowd full of very deserving students and their families, so thank you for being here, and that's it.
And I am going to add that it's also amazing to see how many of your teachers are here, because they've put in a long day, and we are extremely grateful that you are here to help your students celebrate. So thank you very much. All right, moving on. Recognition of staff, students, and community. Students, December Leader in Character. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. Parents, thank you so much for taking time out of your really busy lives to be here. This is a really special thing that we do in celebrating your sons and daughters, our students. I just can't help but be a little bit nostalgic. Both Rob Lowell and Carly Frieders, back in the day, received this award. And I will tell you, because I know both of them, it's not just because they have amazing LSAT scores, which they do, and they're very smart and very capable, but it's because even back then, you could see those elements of character, of citizenship, and of service that we recognize in our students. We believe excellence is not just about being a straight A student and achieving excellence, although that is important, but that being truly excellent is about being a person of citizenship and of character. And so we recognize your students. We thank you, parents, for the influence and the values that you continue to shape in these young people as they grow and develop, so that they can continue to grow and achieve their full potential for the good in every way. So we have this award every month, 1 or 2 students per school, depending on the school and its structure. When your name is called, please come down and receive your award from Mr. Opalka. And then we will keep you up on the steps over here for a little bit. And after everybody has been recognized, we will take a picture and send it to the local paper, because they're one of our partners, and they will make sure everybody knows how awesome you are by putting you in the paper. And you will also receive, courtesy of Freeport-McMoran, a nice gift card to go buy yourself some books at Barnes & Noble. So with that, congratulations. Let us begin. I believe we have one honoree that we missed for some reason in December. So we'll begin with him. We have a Leader in Character honoree from Sahuarita Primary School. Congratulations, Wyatt Davis. Wyatt, come on down. Come on down, Wyatt. And again, we'll now move to January, beginning with our Leader in Character honoree from Sopery Elementary School. It's always toughest being the first one. Our Leader in Character from Sopery is a 4th grader. Congratulations, Mason Goodmanson. Our Leader in Characters from On the Trail, there are 2, because again, we have the elementary piece and the middle school. Our elementary Leader in Character is a kindergartner. Come down and be recognized, Adrian Soto. And our On the Trail Leader in Character from the middle school side is a 6th grader. Congratulations, Javen Bickett. Come on down. We have another outstanding kindergartner to recognize, and this young person is from Sahuarita Primary School. Congratulations, Carson Campbell. Come on down. And now we recognize our Leader in Character from Sahuarita Intermediate School. Congratulations, Logan Palmafy. Come on down. I don't see Logan. We'll make sure that that award is presented. And now we recognize our Leader in Character from Copperview Elementary School. Congratulations, Grace Lynn Pomerlow. All right. Now we move on to another school with two honorees, another, another K-8 school. This is Wrightson Ridge K-8 school, and our first honoree is a fifth grader, Carlos Villegas. Our leader in character from Wrightson Ridge Middle School is an eighth grader. Congratulations, Cassandra Estrada. And at Sahuarita Middle School, it is my honor to recognize and congratulate Justin Martin. We now move to our high schools, beginning with Sahuarita High School. Our leader in character is a sophomore. Congratulations, Maya Palacios. I don't see Maya, so we'll move on to Walden Grove High School, where our leader in character is a senior. Congratulations, Victor Marcel Lopez. Oh, there we go. Gotta love the technology. All things are possible. Congratulations. Way to go. All right. And finally, our leader in character from our newest Sahuarita school, the Sahuarita Digital Pathways Academy. Congratulations, seventh grader, Angelo Serino. Looks like Angelo's on the line too somewhere. There you go. Congratulations to Angelo. And congratulations to all of you. Good job, Kevin.
That's great.
3 rows?
Oh, look, they're waving. Hi.
Don't move. Parents, if you want to come down and take a picture, you're welcome to do so.
Adorable.
And again, congratulations to all of you. After taking the photos, parents, you're more than welcome to stay if you'd like, but we also understand that the evenings are sometimes as busy as the days. And if you need to go, thank you again so much for taking time to honor us with your presence today.
Congratulations.
So cute. Yeah.
What? That's a nice crowd, yes. Yes, it is.
Good night, Adam. Thank you.
All right, our next agenda item is call to the public. Consideration and discussion of comments and concerns from the public. Those wishing to address the governing board at this time may do so at this time or at the board's discretion at the time the item appears on the agenda. Speakers are requested to hold their comments to 2 minutes or less. 20 minutes will be allowed for both online and in-person comments. In accordance with Arizona open meeting law, board members may not respond, comment, or ask questions of speakers regarding issues not on the agenda. Any comments not read during this agenda item will be entered into the public record. Okay. One moment, please. Dr. Sparks, how many speakers do we have this evening?
We have no online and 3 in person.
Okay, then we shall proceed with the protocols as they were outlined. Please call our first speaker.
Yes, Adam Mercier.
President Reese, Dr. Sparks, members of the board, Dr. Valenzuela, Mr. Downs, Mr. Bonner, staff, good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Adam Mercier, and my wife Shirley and I have lived in Sahuarita for 14 years, and our 2 sons have spent their entire school careers within the district. We are here to provide honest feedback on the contact tracing process and the harmful and disruptive results of the contact tracing initiated quarantines of asymptomatic unvaccinated students, and we hope to find a collaborative solution together with you. As leaders in large organizations ourselves, my wife and I can appreciate the challenges inherent in developing guidelines and applying ever-changing and sometimes ambiguous directives from external agencies. However, the current version of the COVID-19 Continuity of Operations Plan does not provide details on the contact tracing program, which gives us the impression that the contact tracing may be neither scientifically based nor sensibly applied. As an example, our son's been contact traced at least 3 times this school year, 2 in just the last 2 weeks alone, with only 2 days physically in school between the last 2 contact tracing notifications. He's never been symptomatic during these events and never tested positive during or after the imposed quarantines. Each time he has been summarily pulled out of class, sent home and left to fend for himself educationally for days, with little support beyond being told to log into his Google Classroom. These disruptions to his education have resulted in his grades suffering, social isolation, and missed academic and enrichment opportunities. He has described this sense of abandonment to us as being, quote, treated like a leper. The questions this raises are, why do only some students in a class get contact traced and not others? Is a student's potential exposure determined only by the assessment of the student who tested positive? Are you truly reducing risk by quarantining a healthy, asymptomatic, unvaccinated student when a vaccinated student in the same situation is not quarantined? The breakout infections we've seen suggest that vaccines do not prevent vaccinated people from transmitting the virus or getting sick. How is this risk weighed against the lasting educational and social consequences suffered by the quarantined students? We are asking for transparency with respect to the contact tracing procedures and that you eliminate the quarantine requirements for asymptomatic students who are contact traced regardless of their vaccination status. Thank you very much for your time.
Dr. Sparks, please call our next speaker.
Brittany Laylack, did I say that correctly?
Okay, I'm kind of going to talk a little bit more too about the contact tracing. Really with all of this, the kids are the victims. They're the ones that are suffering. They're the ones that are missing out. It's all these adults, is it off?
No.
Or you can hear me? Okay. It's all these adults and staff members that are really the ones that are scared. It's the kids that are the ones that are going to have lifelong consequences because of all of this chaos and confusion that has been going on with this whole contact tracing, missing school, not getting to see their friends. Just, it's doing a lot more harm than any good. And then regarding the contact tracing, I had COVID and I did not spread it to anybody in my household. No one contracted it, and I didn't stay away from my family members. None of them got it. And then I have a family member who is vaccinated and boosted, and he spread it to probably about 20 of us. So that just there shows you that whether you're vaccinated or not, you can spread it, and he actually spread it to several family members. So there's nothing to back that up, that if you're vaccinated, you don't spread it, so they shouldn't have to quarantine when they're contact traced. But I just think that kids shouldn't be trying to protect the adults here, and we need to think about the kids if we truly care about the kids and be there for them and get back to education and not talk about contact tracing, masks, and all of that. It's not important. Their education should be #1 priority. These kids don't get sick when they get COVID. My daughter was fever for 1 day, and my son was way more sick with the flu. So we need to stop being so scared. We need to move on with all this and think about the kids instead of the adults. Thanks.
Thank you. Please, the individuals who are here to discuss things with the board, and so please hold your applause. It's not a political rally. We're here to hear what they have to say, and they're not addressing you, so please hold your applause. Dr. Sparks, please call our next speaker.
Patricia Cummins.
Hi. So I know some of you guys, I've talked before, I'm also a nurse. I want to give you an opportunity to watch this movie called COVID Land the Mask. In it, there's industrial hygienists that work at the highest level for OSHA regarding the mask and what they do to the children, including staph infections and pneumonia, bronchitis that they can cause. The kids have a 0% chance of getting sick from COVID. The shots are experimental. There's no one liable except for Teresa Cullen, who is on the order for Pima County, who's ordering these vaccines, these experimental shots for the people that either are or are not given informed consent as to the damage that they can do. As far as the school, I have a child in the high school. He said after the letter from the superintendent came out, 70% more kids were wearing the mask. So that's concerning. I sent an email to one of the teachers, who's also the coach, on some of the pericarditis and the pericarditis and myocarditis that can be exhibited in children around the age of 16. I had a patient whose 16-year-old son, and the third day was playing basketball, fell on the court and had a heart attack, and the reason was from the enlarged heart from the shot. There now have been 29,000 deaths from the shots on the VAERS, which is an estimate out of Harvard, it being a 1%. Other statisticians say to multiply that by 31, so we're looking at about 400,000 people who have suffered from the shot. I also follow up on COVID patients, and all of my patients who have gotten COVID have gotten 2 shots or 3. Now the shots are showing that they're going to have more harm. We're going to have 300% increase in cancer. And we don't know what's going to happen to the kids because the FDA said, oh, we got to give it to the kids before we figure out what's going to happen. So hopefully the parents aren't doing that. The Senate had a huge hearing. It's about 5 hours long on Monday. Hopefully you guys have a chance to take a look and see what that, there was 17,000 doctors that were represented there. Dr. McCullough, I had COVID in November. I followed Dr. McCullough's protocol. I was better in a week. So there is treatment, and it's effective 99 to 100%. And
Thank you, Mrs. Cummings.
I do have one, let me add one more thing, just real quick.
Ma'am, please, we've asked that you follow the protocols that we've set forth. Please take your seat.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want the hybrid to stop.
Okay. Moving on to new business, the budget update. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. As we do routinely, I've asked our CFO, Mrs. Huey, to provide a budget update and to offer a few insights in regards to trends over time. Mrs. Huey.
Good evening. Including your board packet, and there on the screen is the comparison. The blue represents this current fiscal year, and the orange is prior fiscal year. And for the most part, the expenditures align to this year. There are 2 anomalies for this year that wasn't there last year. And the first one is that we are experiencing this year a higher expense in our M&O for maintenance. And that's just because of our PPE. Last year, we received ESSER 1 funds, and we were able to purchase PPE out of ESSER 1 last year, and that has expired. We used it, and therefore you'll see it in our expenses for this current fiscal year. Additionally, you will see an increase of expenses in the transportation area, and that's only because of our shortage of drivers and the need to purchase services from our charter companies. And so that's why you see that little bit of a dip higher than last year, just as a comparison. But overall, if you look at the trend, it very much mirrors what we did last year.
And just to clarify for the board and public, ESSER monies are one-time federal stimulus dollars.
That is correct. And last year, we received the ESSER 1 dollars, and that's what paid for our PPE to start us with. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
All right, any questions? All right, moving on. The public online auction items. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. This is again a fairly routine matter where we ask for your authorization to put items that have exhausted their useful life on the auction block to capture residual value. The only comment I'd have about this one is that it's kind of a unique, larger item. There's a school bus. An old school bus that has 268,000 miles on it, and so it will be put on the block for the capturing of residual value. And with that, I would recommend your authorization of today's public online auction items list so that we can move forward with that process.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. New business, the consent agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Reese, members of the board, you have a list of routine consent matters that may be considered in one comprehensive motion. And at this time, I do recommend your approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
just a big thank you to HUD Bay and some of the other donors there. It looks like we received a number of instruments for our programs to help continue support the arts at the middle school, and also the Sapphire Services for the cheerleading support. So we appreciate all those donations and the community continuing to support all those food nights and events that are around town. We appreciate that very much.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right. Possible future agenda considerations. Does anyone have any agenda items that they would like to see added? Okay. So we will establish our next board meeting, which will be held February 9th, 2022, at the Sahuarita District Auditorium here in this building. We will have capacity for up to 75 community members, and a virtual meeting will also be available. Okay, at this time, we are going to recess as we have an executive session. Thank you so much, everyone, tonight for coming. We appreciate you being here.
Do we have to?
So I'll read the statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
So movement into executive session, discussion of consideration of employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of a public officer, appointee, or employee of any public body, except that with the exception of a salary discussion, an officer, appointee, or an employee may demand that discussion or consideration occur in a public meeting. The public body shall provide the officer, appointee, employee with a written notice that the executive session is appointed, but not less than 24 hours for the officer, appointee, employee to determine whether discussion or consideration should occur at a public meeting. All persons present are hereby reminded that it is unlawful to discuss or otherwise divulge to any person who is not now present other than a current member of the board or pursuant to a specific statutory exception